Christian life, we're called to keep several dynamics in balance with one another and not get kind of tilted off in one direction or another. But before I dive too deeply into that, I of course have to share a little bit with you about Amos and that first reading. This passage starts off with a poetic play on words that simply is never going to translate into English. In ancient Hebrew, the word for summer fruit and the word for ending or things coming to their end sound alike. So this begins with a play on words that it's just not going to translate. But what's going on in here is the banter, so to speak, about summer fruit becomes a phonetic segue into the rest of the conversation. The point being, of course, that Yahweh is not going to look the other way and ignore the wrongdoing that is going on. The cheating, the thieving, the exploitation of the less fortunate in society, the merchant class and the aristocracy are not going to get away with their misdeeds. There will be accountability. There will be a response from God. There's this whole imagery that's part of that, of the earth, in a sense, heaving or quaking, groaning under the sinfulness of the people, is tied to a perspective of the ancient world in which evil deeds actually polluted the earth. And so this image of the earth responding to this evil perpetrated on its surface with groaning and movement and earthquake would have been very vivid and potent to the original audience. For us, it's a reminder that God does expect us to do what is just. God does call on us to be people of integrity and honesty. Paul's letter begins with probably what were the words of the early Christian hymn, extolling the grandeur of Jesus the Christ, extolling Christ as the firstborn of all things created by God, and at the center and core of everything by God's design, and that in Christ everything comes to its fulfillment. In our gospel story, as is usually the case with these little vignettes of Jesus' interactions with people, there's actually a great deal packed into the story. Martha and Mary welcome Jesus into their home, this famous traveling rabbi, this healer and miracle worker. And we immediately have attention set up. But there's a lot of things between the lines we can miss. First of all, Mary is described as sitting at the feet of Jesus. That's the posture, the symbolic place of a disciple. And it's important for us to notice this because in the culture of the day, things were far more patristic, far more patriarchal than even today. And for Mary to be a disciple, to be in a role that customarily would have been exclusively for the men, is an example of how dramatically egalitarian Jesus' movement was. Dramatically how countercultural is an accurate way to say it, countercultural for the moment that Jesus' movement was. This passage is often taken through Christian history as a justification for exalting intellectual pursuits some monasteries, it was justification for why the brothers or the nuns responsible for the kitchen and the farm and that kind of thing were of some kind of lower status than the scribes and the scholars. This really, really is missing the point, and again, missing a lot of the details in the way the story is told. Martha is described as being distracted by many concerns. She comes to Jesus and complains about not getting help. Jesus' response is not a put down, it's actually an invitation. He addresses her again as distracted by many things, but only one thing is important. Mary's chosen that. I won't take it away from her. Implicit in that is, come and sit down. The issue here between the lines is being attentive to Jesus, being attentive to the Messiah, versus letting ourselves get distracted by necessary concerns, but maybe they don't have to be necessary right now. It's easy for me to see Jesus as the kind of teacher who says, you know what, let's talk right now, and we'll deal with preparing the meal afterwards. Right now I have something to say. Martha's being hopefully drawn into this. It's not to exalt one over the other, but it does demonstrate for us the importance of keeping ourselves well-balanced, well-grounded, another expression, personally integrated. The idea being that if you're the kind of person who can lose an entire day in a book and forget about practical necessities, it's important to remember those things and take care of what needs to be done. If you're the kind of person who can get wrapped up in today's checklist and never spend any time in prayer, it's a reminder not to get distracted, to be attentive to Jesus in your life. The golden rule that we're presented with in the Gospels, love God with all your being, and love your neighbor as yourself, is a beautiful little elevator speech that covers broad reality. Our time in prayer, our time in worship together, our time studying Christian tradition and the Scriptures are important nourishments for that relationship with God that is hopefully the grounding of everything else we do. And the time we spend being of service to others, reaching out to people in their pain and their hurt and their hunger and their need, and being the caring one who responds, is inseparable from the life we have in Jesus. They're a whole. They have to go together. And the times in Christian history where one has been elevated over the other have universally been times in Christian history where things have not gone well for Christian people as an organized expression and living the faith. We're called to keep these pieces, these dynamics, these elements of our faith life in balance. To not let ourselves get out of kilter, to not let ourselves be distracted, blow my entire day in prayer instead of feeding the dogs and brushing their coats, or in running through the checklist and not having that conversation with Jesus. My brothers and sisters, today, let's simply rededicate ourselves to seeking that balance